In 1666, a small fire started in a bakery. 4 days later, 13,000 houses were gone. The year before that, a terrible disease called the plague killed 1 out of every 4 people in the city. And hundreds of years after that, German planes dropped bombs on London every night for 8 months. And what did London do? It came back. Every single time. When most people think of London, they think of Big Ben, red phone booths, and those guards wearing the tall furry hats. But the real story of London, it's way crazier than that. Roman soldiers built the very first bridge here. Vikings came up the river and burned the place down. There was a killer who was never caught. Shakespeare was writing famous plays just down the road from places where people watched bears fight. For 2,000 years, people kept coming to this city. Bad things kept happening, and they kept rebuilding it anyway. Today, we're going through that whole story. All of it, from an empty, muddy riverbank to one of the biggest cities in the world. Trust me, after this, you'll think about London in a whole new way. Before we start, if you like videos like this, hit subscribe and like. It's free, it takes 1 second, and it really helps more people find this kind of stuff. Okay, let's go. The year is 43 AD, that's almost 2,000 years ago. 4 groups of Roman soldiers, about 20,000 men total, have just shown up on the coast of England. They're marching through thick forests and swampy ground, and they need one thing, a way to get across the Thames River. They need a spot where the river is narrow enough to build a bridge, but still deep enough for their ships to sail through. They find the perfect place. It's the last narrow point before the river gets wide and meets the sea. And here's the cool part, it's the exact same spot where London Bridge stands right now. The Romans pound wooden poles into the bottom of the river and build a crossing. Pretty soon, a town starts growing around that bridge. They name it Londinium, and it gets big fast. Traders show up from France to sell wine. Soldiers come from as far away as Syria. Merchants from North Africa bring spices and cloth. Nobody planned for Londinium to become a major city. It was just supposed to be a place to move supplies back and forth. But when you put money and people in one spot, things tend to grow way beyond what anyone expected. Just 17 years after Londinium was founded, it all burned down. Queen Boudica of the Iceni tribe was furious at the Romans. They had beaten her and hurt her daughters. In 60 AD, she gathered an army of about 100,000 warriors and marched toward Londinium. The city had almost no protection. Most Roman soldiers were far away fighting in Wales. The people living there had 2 choices, run or die. Boudica's army destroyed everything. This isn't just a story. Archaeologists digging under modern London have found a layer of red ash about 4 meters underground. That's the burned remains of the city she destroyed. But the Romans came back and rebuilt. This time they made it stronger. They built a huge wall around the city, 6 meters tall and 3 meters thick. Parts of that wall are still standing today near the Barbican and Tower Hill. At its best, Roman Londinium had around 60,000 people living in it. There was an amphitheatre, public baths, a big marketplace, and a governor's palace. It wasn't just a small outpost anymore. It was a real Roman city. Then Rome started falling apart. By 410 AD, the Roman Empire was crumbling. Enemies were attacking from all sides. Britain was too far away and too hard to protect. The emperor told British cities they were on their own. The Roman soldiers left. Without Rome, Londinium fell apart. Trade stopped. Money became useless. Merchants, workers, and leaders all left. In just 1 generation, the city went from 50,000 people to maybe a few hundred living in broken-down buildings. For the next 200 years, the city was basically a ghost town. Grass grew through the fancy floors, roofs collapsed. Wolves might have wandered the empty streets, but the river was still there, and rivers always bring new people. The Saxons who moved into Britain weren't city people. They were farmers. They actually stayed away from the old Roman walls. One Saxon poet called the ruins the work of giants. They couldn't believe regular people had built them. Instead of moving into Londinium, the Saxons built a new town about a mile west in the 670s AD. They called it WWII, meaning London trading town. Today, that's where Covent Garden and the Strand are. If you've seen a show at the Royal Opera House, you are sitting right on top of old Saxon London. London which did well. Traders brought amber from the Baltic, wine from Germany, and pottery from France. By the 700s, about 8,000 people lived there. Then the Vikings came, and they weren't there to trade. Starting in the late 700s, Viking raiders attacked again and again. In 842, they destroyed Londonwich. In 851, they came back with 350 ships. London kept getting attacked because there was money there.
Don't let them take everything! Only take their wealth!
King Alfred the Great finally fought back. In 886, he took London from the Danes and made a smart move. He left Londonwich and moved everyone inside the old Roman walls, which were still strong. He fixed them up and renamed the city Lundenburg, London Fortress. The abandoned Saxon town became known as Ealdwick, the old settlement. Today that name lives on as Aldwych, a street near the Strand. For the next 150 years, London kept switching between Saxon and Danish rulers. King Canute made it his capital in 1016. Then in 1042, King Edward the Confessor built Westminster Abbey just west of the city. That decision shaped London forever. The city became the centre for business, and Westminster became the centre for power. Edward dies in January 1066 without any children. What happens next changes England forever. Harold Godwinson becomes king. But William, the Duke of Normandy in France, says Edward promised him the throne. Harold has to fight off a Norwegian invasion in the north first. Then William lands on the south coast with 7,000 soldiers. Harold rushes his tired army south to meet him. They fight at Hastings on October 14th. By the end of the day, Harold is dead. Legend says an arrow hit him in the eye, and William has won. On Christmas Day 1066, William becomes King of England at Westminster Abbey. The Anglo-Saxon period is over. The Normans are in charge now, and they're going to change everything, starting with London. William doesn't trust the people of London because they supported Harold, so he builds 3 forts to control them. The biggest one becomes the Tower of London. The main building, called the White Tower, is 90 feet tall with walls 12 feet thick. It towers over the city as a warning. Over time, it becomes a palace, a prison, a place to store treasure, even a zoo. And today, it's one of the most famous landmarks in the world. Medieval London is crowded, messy, and getting richer. By 1100, about 15,000 people live there. Merchants form groups called guilds, goldsmiths, fishmongers, cloth traders, and they become so powerful that even the king has to work with them. In 1215, when a group of angry nobles force King John to sign the Magna Carta, London helps make it happen. In return, the city gets important rights, like choosing its own mayor and being protected from unfair taxes. London becomes one of the most diverse cities in the world. The 1960s bring a cultural explosion. Swinging London, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Carnaby Street, Mary Quant's miniskirts. For a dizzying moment, London feels young, rebellious, electric. The decades that follow are rockier. Economic decline in the 1970s, strikes, power cuts, rubbish piling up in the streets, IRA bombings throughout the 1980s and 1990s. The Docklands, once the beating heart of the British Empire's trade, sit abandoned, rusting. Then comes reinvention. Canary Wharf rises from the old docks. The financial sector booms. London positions itself as a global financial center to rival New York. The Millennium Dome opens in 2000, an expensive flop, but is eventually reborn as the O2 Arena. The 2012 Olympics transform East London, bringing billions in investment and infrastructure to neglected neighborhoods. Today, London is home to over 9 million people, the most since before World War II. Over 300 languages are spoken within its boundaries. Nearly 40% of Londoners were born outside the UK. Brixton pulses with Caribbean culture. Southall is a vibrant South Asian community. There's Chinatown, Turkish Dalston, Polish Hammersmith. You can eat food from any country on Earth without leaving Zone 2. The skyline keeps evolving. The Shard, the Gherkin, the walkie-talkie, glass and steel towers rising alongside medieval churches and Georgian townhouses. It's controversial, it's constantly debated, but it's happening because London has never been a city that stands still. And that's the story, 2,000 years of it, from Roman legionaries hammering wooden posts into a riverbed to glass skyscrapers reflecting clouds over Canary Wharf, from Boudicca's flames to the Blitz, from a handful of squatters in crumbling ruins to 9 million people speaking 300 languages. London has survived Roman withdrawal, Viking raids, the Black Death, the Great Fire, and 60 consecutive nights of German bombing. Each time it burns, it rebuilds. Each time it's invaded, it absorbs. Each time it should have died, it adapts, grows, and pulls in new people with new ideas from every corner of the world. That's what makes London London. It's messy, it's crowded, it's absurdly expensive, it's complicated, and it has been for 2,000 years. And somehow, against all logic and all odds, it just keeps going. If this video taught you something new, or if it made you see London a little differently, please hit that like button. It genuinely makes an enormous difference for the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive. Share this with someone who loves history, or someone who's planning a trip to London. They'll thank you for it. And drop a comment below. What surprised you most? What city should we cover next? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.